Welcome back to Pine Haven Acres. Today I want to show you how I feed my rabbits. I've done a few of these videos before, but things are always changing with the setup and what rabbits we have, so all the videos are a little different. But the first thing that I'm going to do is check the hose. It has been really warm recently, but the last 2 days we've gotten nearly freezing temperatures, so I want to make sure that the hose is not frozen before I turn it on. So I'm just going to try to bend it and see if I hear any ice breaking on the inside. Up there in the sun looks good, but I'm thinking that down here in the shade we're going to hear some ice. Oh yeah. So there's ice in there, so I'm going to have to bring my bucket up to the house and fill that up. The hose has been so nice because I can just spray it into everybody's bowl and not have to carry this bucket all the way. But the bunnies drink about 4 to 4.5 gallons of water a day. So I'm gonna go fill up the bucket. All right, got the water down here. Now we're gonna check on the bunnies in here. I also have some chicks. They were outside in the tractor, but like I said, it's been freezing temperatures out, and I believe they're only 4 or 5 weeks old, so they need to stay a little bit warmer. I don't have a heat lamp in here for them. I need to go to the store and pick one up, but they seem to be doing fine. And this doe here is due to yesterday and today, so we'll see how her nest looks. It looks like she already had one. Let's see. There's fur in here and no babies. You might have already caught a glimpse of it, but I found a baby out of the nest and it's not alive. So if you don't want to see a dead baby bunny, skip forward a little bit. So this is the baby. You can see that it's really elongated, which means that it was stretched in the birth canal and she probably had a little bit of difficulty delivering it, which is actually a little bit common. It happens. So I only see one baby in here. She still looks like she might be in labor still, or at least recovering. So we'll just keep an eye on her. I'll give her some kale, and that has calcium in it to help with contractions, and some raspberries that'll help her uterus stay a little bit more toned, I guess. It's usually you give it to them before they deliver, but that'll help her uterus restrict and help with the labor. We'll give her some fresh water too. So that was a bummer. She looks like she's doing good though. Not a great way to start off the morning, but we'll check on these little guys in here. They're a little bit older, so I hope that they did well throughout the night. This mama I might need to take out because she's a little aggressive. All of these guys are doing well. Looks like they just opened up their eyes. The heat lamp makes it a little hard to see them. But there we go. We have a tort, a broken tort, a black and solid black, and I think it might be a broken opal. It looks like it has a little bit of tan around its nose and ears. So those are the little bunnies. They're Holland Lops. So now I'm gonna go feed my chickens. They are usually really rowdy in the morning before I feed them, so I like to start off with their feed. I just have some pellets here. I have 5 chickens and I usually just give them this amount. Not sure how many cups that is, but they eat it all and they've been healthier that I've been rationing their feed instead of free feeding. And at this time, I will get their eggs. Looks like we have 2 eggs so far. 2 of the hens like to lay later on in the day, so I'll come back around noon. Next, I'm going to feed the chicks. They get a crumble so it's easier for them to eat and digest. And this is a 20% protein, and the laying hens get a 16%. I made this little stand for the water so they don't throw some wood shavings in it and get it all dirty. It's just a litter pan with some wire, and they climb up there or they just stand in the wood shavings and reach their beak over. I'm thinking I have 2 roosters, and then there's another one that I'm watching. We'll see as it gets older, but the rest should be hens. Alright, bunnies in the shed are done, and so are the chicks, so now we're going to move on outside. Alright, my bucket is filled with pellets. I go through this whole bucket every day. These are the pellets that I'm using. It's a 16% protein, 3% fat, and 25% fiber. 20 to 25% fiber. I prefer the fat to be a little bit lower, around 2 to 2.5, but because I'm feeding this to the nursing does and growing babies and things like that, as well as my bucks and my dry does, this seems to be working fine. I do really like that it has a lot of fiber in it, and I like to go for 16 to 17% protein, so I really like this pellet. It's pretty much the same formula as Orrin Reynolds, I believe, from what I've seen. But yeah, this is what I feed. So I start with the carport and the bunnies in here. Yesterday got really cold, so they all have some hay left over that I gave them to snuggle in. We have some little New Zealand babies here. They're super friendly and cute. I have some creams and a New Zealand buck down there. These are all my silver fox bucks. So they made a bit of a mess with their hay. We have pretty high humidity right now, so the hay is not completely dry. So if there are some really wet spots, I'll clean those out of the cages, and then we'll start with feeding. Alright, the cages are cleaned out now. And I'm going to start on the trays. When I had the hose down here, I would spray out the trays every morning. I haven't been using any type of absorbent inside the trays just because I was spraying it out every morning. Things weren't building up. But since I don't have the hose down here, I'm just going to try to dump out as much as I can. And then hopefully in a few days, everything will be unfrozen and we can start cleaning them again. I'm honestly not a fan of cages with trays just because I don't like my rabbits to be so close to the ammonia. I mean, it's only a couple inches, and if it were to build up, it's going to be smelling really strong, and rabbits don't have very good respiratory systems as it is. So I definitely prefer cages like this, or my cages outside that are wooden but still same concept. The floor is wire so everything can drop through, and they have a couple of feet of space between the waist. But now we are done cleaning. We're going to start feeding. Wanted to show you guys the little baby bunnies. They are very cute. Look out, Mama. So I free feed the baby bunnies and nursing moms. not technically free feeding, like I have food left over the next day, but giving them as much as they can, as much as they can eat in a day. Sometimes I'll have a little bit left over, but I call it free feeding because I pretty much fill up their whole feeder. So as they get older, I might need to add another feeder, and that's totally okay. But these guys are so adorable. They're coming up on 4 weeks, I believe. 3.5 to 4 weeks. And coming outside, I really only have 2 cages. So I have this stacker that's full. I have 2 rabbits in this cage and 1 rabbit here. And that's all of them. Okay, so this cage has silver fox babies in it. This one has cream d'argent babies, so I free feed both of those. And then these 2 girls are due in about a week. So they've just been getting like 3/4 of a cup to a cup if it's cold out. When I have litters and they have these bowls here that can easily pop off the wall, I like to give them a water bottle option, just in case they do dump out their water and I'm not down here when that happens to refill it, so they can still have water. I left this one up because it was empty, so it didn't freeze, but I took down the one up here and the one for the New Zealands. These guys are getting quite large. Their silvering is actually starting to come in, which is pretty exciting. This is my first litter of cream d'argents. I'm probably going to do another video on how I breed rabbits, as in like pairing certain rabbits up to improve the body type. And these guys are a pretty good example of that, so stay tuned for that video. And this one here loves to sleep in the water dish when it's empty. These ones are about the same age as the New Zealands. And there's 4 of them. Very, very excited for this litter. We should get some nice looking bunnies out of this breeding here. Okay, back to feeding. Okay, so now at this point, I'm done feeding pellets, and I do hay for all the babies every day, and about every other day for all the other rabbits. Because I gave them hay yesterday and they still have some left over, I'm going to skip that step. So we've already fed all of the stuff inside the shed and the chickens. So now we can close up shop in here and just move outside to start doing water. And I'm going to grab my eggs here, sort of turn this into a tool bench, workbench. But we've been working on some projects here and there. The tractor, one of them. So I'm going to leave my eggs here and we're going to start on water. So I usually just water them once a day. And when we have a pretty normal day, I guess, where the temperature isn't too cold or too hot, they still have water. They have enough water for that day. But if it's too cold and things freeze, or it's too hot and they drink extra water, then that's when I come out and do a second watering. You've probably seen in my other videos how I water my rabbits. I have this bowl in here that I use to transport the water, and that's so that I don't contaminate the main source of water here. So this is the only thing that is touching the main portion of water, and then I just come in and water everything else. I try to give all of the litters enough water containers and bottles to last them the whole day, But lately, these guys have been drinking so much water. I've had to come out twice a day to fill them up. But that's okay. They're so adorable. So the last step is to give this extra water to our laying hens. There's maybe a quarter left in the bucket. So I'm going to rinse it out first, and then we'll fill it. This is my favorite heated watering bowl. I got it from Goodwill, but I'm sure you could buy it anywhere. It has kept the water unfrozen when we've had, I think we got near -20 possibly, and it only had a thin layer of ice on the top, but it was so thin that the chickens could still break through and get water. And all my chickens are escaping. So I've really been liking this, and I connected it so that it goes up through the wall in the back there and into the shed where we have an outlet. So yes, 100% recommend. I guess we're doing free ranging today. Come on, guys. All right, so all of the animals are fed and happy, and that wraps up our chores. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. This video was definitely longer than I anticipated, but if it was still enjoyable to watch, then thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.